Welcome to Dan and Andreea Test Everything. The voice you're hearing right now is Dan Redman. And joining me today
is Andrea Borcha. And I'm super excited that we're going to be testing something every week, no matter what it is, in the marketing sales sphere.
Even a little side hustle mixed in there. And today's test falls, I would say, a little bit more into the side hustle category, but also it's an interesting experiment in virality in the marketing ecosphere that we can cover as well. And I have to tell you, Andrea, so I gave you a little inkling of what today was going to be about. It's Earth 2, which you were like, Dan, what the heck is Earth 2? I'm fed up with Earth 1. I can't handle another one. What are we doing?
I'm pretty sure that's was my first impression of when you sent it to me. I was just like, all right, so he's done.
Yeah.
Like we're done with this Earth. We've moved on. He's gonna upload himself or something to Earth 2, and luckily there seems to be currencies, so you're halfway there. You can just already start your business there.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about it, or as much as I know, because I'm still researching. But listen, I dive into things face first. So I am an investor in Earth 2 as well as a researcher at this stage. But what it essentially is it's a precursor to an entirely made virtual world that one day we could exist to a certain extent in. There are multiple phases that Earth 2 is going to be rolled out. We are now in phase 1. They've just opened this thing up recently, and it's become somewhat of a land grab, where you can go on to this entire globe that's been cut up into bite-sized tiles and start to purchase these tiles for various somewhat arbitrary set amounts on the tiles. How does that hit you?
And so I mean, it actually reminds me a little bit of the guy that started the Pixels. Do you remember that? Where he had 1 million pixels and everyone could buy 1 pixel space, right? So to me, it sounds a little bit like Pixel 2.0 in that sense. And that went well. That went really well for him.
That guy made $1 million, right? It was the $1 million ad page. So this is not dissimilar. It's either going to be the next Bitcoin, or it's going to be a total pyramid scheme, and everybody involved is either going to be arrested or lose all of their money. There's no in between with this kind of thing. But I'll tell you what my strategy going into it was and where my air quote investments currently sit. So after reading a little bit about this, essentially the way Earth 2 is going to roll out is it has a little bit of like a Minecraft inspiration, as far as I gather, where there are a certain amount of resources that are going to be made available on places on the planet that there would be resources existing. So think diamond mines in South Africa, think copper or silver in Arizona. Peru has gold, the Incan gold. Those are going to be...
So you actually really need to know, like, global geography.
To a certain extent.
Start to invest.
The other aspect of it is highly trafficked places. So the understanding of this is that if people want to go and visit a thing, maybe it's Disney World in a virtual sense, then that'll be a place with foot traffic, which will amount to some level of advertising dollars or capture of information, whatever it might be. So those are the two aspects that people are grabbing land as it stands. They're slowly opening up new regions. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, how is this different than Second Life? Do you remember Second Life?
Yeah, totally. No, it's actually not. It's not that much different. The difference here is that it's been totally scaped over the entire Earth. Second Life was a completely virtual, fantastical land. This is when you go to buy land, you're actually looking at your house on the map. Anything you could find on Google Maps. There are literally billions of tiles that are scaped over the entire Earth.
Oh my gosh, that's almost creepy.
It's very creepy. And that's I bet 99% of people log on and they just buy their house, right? Like, no, nobody buy my house. I want to live there. But then you
Well,
start
the
thinking,
crazy thing is, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm just like looking over really quick over this map. And I think the craziest thing is in this map alone, wherever this is, one city, I'm seeing a Japanese flag, a German flag, a British flag, an Australian flag, a US flag, a Chinese flag, a couple flags I don't even recognize, some like Saudi Arabia flag, like Italy, like all right next to each other.
yeah,
Switzerland.
it's bizarre. So
That's
my first thoughts were in getting into it and researching it. I escaped from the idea of buying my house, thankfully. And I first
good.
thought, well, what are going to be some highly sought after pieces of property, maybe in real life? And the San Diego airport, as of the time that I searched, was available. You could buy the entire San Diego airport. However, each tile
Right.
was valued at $35. And now most tiles in the US are near $40 to buy each individual tile. That's the most expensive tile in this entire marketplace so far. So I did a little bit more searching and thought, well, what's essentially the center of culture, religion, tourism? I went to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is totally bought up. It's kind of funny. It's
I'm
completely
sure.
occupied, but the rates are
Of
relatively
course it
low.
is.
You could get a plot of land in the old city of Jerusalem for about $4 per tile. Tel Aviv, on the other
No
hand,
way.
yeah,
Oh wow.
Tel Aviv is not open yet. It looks like it's a region that still hasn't opened yet. It's currently valued at 10 cents a tile, but it looks like they haven't really released it. So it'll be a land grab as soon as Tel Aviv is open. I then went to Panama Canal was my next investigation, and
Okay.
it's pretty well occupied, Panama Canal. But I'm thinking in this like global virtual game, some type of trade route, shipping route through Panama Canal, if there's a sense of realism to it, that maybe that's good. This is all speculation, right? So what the heck is
Well,
it?
yeah, so let's back up a second. When you're looking at this, you know what you're talking trade routes. So this is about somehow traffic, like real world traffic in these places in this virtual world. Like what's your logic? What's your breakdown for like how you would pick where you think is going to be the most traffic?
Yeah, so I'm just thinking, I'm thinking eyeballs. I'm also thinking, where would somebody else want to put a business? So there will be opportunities to construct live businesses on these plots of lands, whether it's digital assets, construction, even different types of like advertising. Where can I get like that sort of an environment and also get enough value on my purchase? So yeah, if I buy the best beach in San Diego, La Jolla Del Mar, it's expensive real estate in the real world. Do I get a lot of foot traffic necessarily? Maybe not. There's maybe places across the world where I could get more people to attend a little tile with less costs of the land. And then I have a little bit more upside on my land value. Again,
I
who knows? But
Yeah, yeah.
I ended up buying
Well,
15 tiles in Panama,
did
in the
you
Panama
really?
Canal. So I got 15 tiles yesterday at nine
Okay.
dollars, and you get a little ticker in Earth 2, and I've earned 1.2% value increase on my tiles in a day.
But what can you do with that? Can you like cash them in now and take your 1.2% out?
So there's an entire marketplace where you can buy, sell, trade. So if I
Okay.
really wanted to, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of listings already for buy, sell, trade. So you can
Oh
go
yeah.
and find discounts on land, people that have been maybe sitting on these plots since the beginning that are selling at a 50, 60, 70% discount on the tile, and they'll still make 150%.
Mm-hmm.
So I could sit on my
I
15
see.
tiles until each tile is worth $400. Suddenly I have a little upside. Maybe the Panama Canal is valuable. I own a toothpick in the Panama Canal, but there it is. And then I thought more about resource, right? Like, got to diversify a little bit. So I then was just reading top mining countries in the world and some maybe lower socioeconomic countries.
That's kind of, it's funny you're saying that because when you were saying resources in Minecraft, I started thinking down the lines of if you take politics off the planet, if you take people off the planet and you just look at resources, there are some pretty sweet places to be, right? Like, if without a mafia, without the militias, a diamond mine sounds brilliant, right? Like a gold mine. So is that what you did?
I went to Kazakhstan.
Of
I went to
course you did.
Kazakhstan. It's actually a top mining country, one of the top like uranium mining countries and
Okay.
like rare minerals. And I bought another 18 tiles. So I bought 18 tiles
Wow.
around the place where Cushman and Wakefield have a major like mining investment.
Uh
And
huh.
wasn't any surprise to me. I pulled up that area on a map, and sure enough, like some other, I'm going to put air quotes around investors and speculators, had purchased a lot of the properties. It was hard to get those 18 tiles. So
Wow.
that's another $9 that I invested there. So I'm into this thing almost $20 now, Andrea.
That's big money.
It's
That's
big money.
I'm actually kind of impressed how much you got for only $20. That's kind
Really?
of amazing.
You think I got
Well,
good
I
value?
mean, just like glancing when you're talking about like $4 and $50 like per piece of land, and if you look at this marketplace real quick, I'm seeing things that are like, I guess they're $5 per tile, but people are selling like $3,600 worth of tiles, $1,700 worth of tiles. Like this is, and you're right. Like they bought for 75 and they're selling for 1,700. So it feels a little Bitcoiny too. What do you know what you can do with the like? So you said there's real resources. Can you start mining it on your little toothpick in Kazakhstan or?
That's next. So next gen, we're still in phase one, where it's basically land grab. Go get what you can get. Phase two,
Mm-hmm.
which they're saying is early 2021, which we're in, is going to be phase two rollout, which will be resources, the introduction of resources. What that will look like,
Interesting.
it is a little bit mysterious, but it seems like you will acquire something in your account that will signify that you've picked up a resource via this mining capability. So my idea is I have a balance of Panama Canal where I can construct some type of business that gets a lot of foot traffic, and then I have the balance of Kazakhstan where in theory I can collect resources there, build my business in Panama Canal, and I've got like a functioning operation within this virtual world. The last thing to acquire is where I want to build my house in this virtual world.
Well, and do you have any idea of how building a business would work? Is it like Second Life where they had like a little Nissan dealership in, and you just
That's how
walk
I
in?
understand it. Yeah, that's how I understand it.
Okay.
The details are pretty foggy. You listen to a lot of like people that are posting YouTube videos and blogging about it. I actually heard about this originally on TikTok, and
Mm-hmm.
it was a popular side hustler on TikTok was talking about it, and he's made some purchases and seen some increase in his value. But what most people are doing is like picking out small plots, investing in areas that give them diversification, and hitting the marketplace really hard, hitting the buy sell trades really hard. And that's how you're growing your portfolio. Some people, if you check out the leaderboards, you've got people with
Mm-hmm.
portfolios in the 50, 60, 70K range that
Yeah.
5,000 tiles, 3,000 tiles on this board. So it's an interesting experiment, So a couple things that I want to revisit are what does my current value look like on a week over week basis? We can come check back on that. Right now I'm at a 1.2% growth of my portfolio on my $20
Amazing.
in a
I mean, to
day.
be fair, I mean, that's day trading. You're basically day trading at this
Yeah, until this
point.
whole thing like
uh,
crumbles and all of a sudden you show up and there's like a error 404 on page, and
right.
my
And then
$20
at
goes
least
down
you
the
only
toilet.
lost $20.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
that's it.
right.
But that's kind of it. I want to check on that, and then once phase 2 is released, that's when things could get pretty interesting if I understand correctly how it's going to work. Phase 3 is when you'll actually be able to visit the virtual territories. And as they're describing it, you'll go to Mount Everest and there will be Mount Everest in this virtual landscape. So it's a really tall promise.
Yeah.
How do you map
Google
and
Earth,
terrain the entire world? I mean, it's
Google Earth did it, but at that point I can just go to Google Earth and do it for free. So unless they're going to somehow have better optics than Google can pull off. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. Is like if you jump on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, I can get an instant view of anywhere in the world as long as somebody's snapping about it. And if you just think if you pool all of that visual together, you could probably get a decent. I mean, I don't know about Mount Everest because you'd have to have enough people that went up and Snapchatted up there. But like, I mean, I was in Times Square, I was in Hong Kong, I was wherever, and instantly. So I could kind of see you doing that, but I'm more wondering like, how do you build a business? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So their data, it does give, when you pull up a map and you look to buy land, there is a little stamp that shows you the backend system that they're using, and it's called Mapbox. Mapbox, it looks like if you chase it down to their site, it looks like their specialty is literally just tiling the earth in these digital maps. That's their entire specialty. So, the guys
now
behind
they're just trying to find a way to monetize
it. Yeah.
Well, actually, see, I almost say look at it from the other side because you and I are both, agency owners. Is like if that client came to you and was just like, we've been tiling in the earth and we don't know what to do with it. I feel like you'd come back to them and be like, you sell it to people. That's what you do with it.
That's right. On speculation alone.
Yep. And see what happens. The funny thing is, I'm looking at this leaderboard and let's see. Top of the leaderboard, E2 the boss, who's got a Twitch and a TikTok and a Discord. Number 3 is King Tech Ops, who also has a Discord and a Twitch. And then there's a bunch that say use this code for 5% off, 10% off, use this code as their name. Do you know why? I mean, obviously, like this grew on TikTok and Twitch. Like this grew in the sub-belly of, pop culture. But beyond that, like I feel like you jumped on this thing as early as you possibly could have without being deep into Twitch world.
So the promo codes, which I urge you to create your own, and we'll put them as accessible with this piece of content. So the way the promo codes work is not only does it give you 5% off your purchase within the platform, but also the referrer gets an additional 5% bump back. So some of the influencers that are posting are cleaning up. They're logging into their accounts. Mm-hmm. They're posting, videos and how-tos about this, and they're just cleaning up from the promo code itself.
Nice. So I should buy from your promo code, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, you should buy from my promo code. Where are you thinking about buying? Where would you go first?
So I just went down a little rabbit hole because, of course, now that you've told me this, that's all I'm doing now is just clicking around. And I got to leaderboard most tiles, and I see one here called Pura Vida. And I the first thought was like that it's Pura Vida bracelets. And so that if other companies are like, and it's like all Costa Rica and Miami and Key West, not San Diego, so maybe it's not, but I don't know. I have to think through the logic of like where this is headed, because you're right, foot traffic and resources. I don't know. There's so many good options. I think I need to kind of like Dork Slayer. There's somebody here with Dork Slayer.
Yeah, I'm going to keep studying it. I might make another small purchase to find like a residence. I've read about people like locating a residence. I kind of like the Canary Islands.
There's a ton of ocean and islands that I see that people bought too. So I wonder if you would be allowed to terraform and build your own island like China's doing right now.
Interesting. It's an idea.
Yeah.
They're all ideas, and they're probably all valid. The thing is, if you're having the idea, so is somebody else, and that's
right.
That's what leads these speculative purchases to take hold and grow.
I almost feel like it's a bit like those virtual worlds you play with as a kid, where you go in, like NanoPets was a million years ago, which I guess is still around. But you go in and you build your own resources, and you like mine your resources and use them within the world. I wonder, because Second Life, at some point you could buy things in the game that you'd also buy out in the real world. And so that's kind of where my question is, like, if that threshold never gets crossed, where it stays all in Earth 2, then I would go for resource places. But if it's something that you can monetize out in the real world, where like that's just, your first step, and then you come out and check out the business out in the real world, then I'm kind of thinking like you were, like high traffic. I'd be down to own some of Times Square, or
good luck finding
Singapore. I know. I bet.
I searched Tiananmen Square, some of the other places I looked. Tiananmen Square, Taipei, Taiwan, Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana in Brazil.
Nice.
A lot of those things are already on the reseller market too. So, that's an opportunity. It's still early. Even the reseller market is still early. So there's opportunities there.
What's interesting from a sociological and a business perspective is, in Earth 2, you're like, oh yeah, Panama Canal is going to be super busy, but it's like, or I'm saying Times Square, or Singapore, or Hong Kong, or whatever, Paris, England, but really it's like we're rebuilding the world. So actually the hottest place might be
Antarctica.
Who knows, right? That's like the place to be, because without temperature, you're not actually physically there. So best place to have started a business. I think this is a total guessing game at this point.
Mm-hmm. You're right. 100%. But I'll tell you one thing that's not going to be a guess. In this virtual world, I'm 6'5" and twice as handsome.
That's worth the investment alone of $20. if $20 got you that's the best $20 you've spent all year.
Thanks for joining us on Dan and Andrea Try Everything. Check in with us next week and the subsequent weeks as we track our side hustle and introduce a few new tests that we have planned.
Make sure to like and subscribe so you always know when we have the next content coming.